Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced that 755 staff must leave U.S. diplomatic missions, in retaliation for new U.S. sanctions against Moscow. The decision to cut staff was made on Friday, but Mr. Putin has now confirmed the number who must go by 1st of September. It brings staff levels to 455, the same as Russia's complement in Washington. This is thought to be the largest action against diplomatic staff from any country in modern history, says the BBC's Laura Bicker in Washington. The number includes Russian employees of the U.S. diplomatic missions across Russia, the BBC's Sarah Rainsford in Moscow adds. Staff in the embassy in Moscow as well as the consulates in Ekaterinburg, Vladivostok and St. Petersburg are affected, she says. The U.S. said the move was a regrettable and uncalled for act. We are assessing the impact of such a limitation and how we will respond to it, a State Department official said. It is not known exactly how many U.S. citizens are employed in the diplomatic missions currently. However, a State Department Inspector General's report in 2013 said more than 900 staff members were local hires, with only 301 direct hire staff, meaning it seems likely a far lower number than 755 will be actually forced to leave Russia. Mr. Putin did strike a conciliatory note, saying he did not want to impose more measures, but also said he could not see ties changing anytime soon. Mr. Putin told Russian television, more than 1,000 people were working and are still working at the U.S. Embassy and consulates, and that 755 people must stop their activities in Russia. Russia has also said it is seizing holiday properties in a warehouse used by U.S. diplomats. Mr. Putin suggested he could consider more measures, but said, "I am against it as of today." He also noted the creation of a de-escalation zone in southern Syria as an example of a concrete result of working together. However, in terms of general relations, he added, "We have waited long enough, hoping that the situation would perhaps change for the better. But it seems that even if the situation is changing, it's not for any time soon." Analysis: Russian hopes dashed. By Jonathan Marcus, BBC News, defense and diplomatic correspondent. Russia hoped for a change in the climate, one where the lifting of many of the Western sanctions imposed after its annexation of Crimea might become possible. But more than this, it wanted a new deal between the U.S. and Russia that would acknowledge Moscow as an equal diplomatic player and indeed as a partner in trouble spots, such as Syria, and in the wider struggle against Islamist terror. These hopes have now come to nothing. Russia seems to have placed unrealistic hopes in what President Trump might achieve. Did Mr. Putin see him as a forceful like-minded character, or as a political and diplomatic lightweight that might be manipulated and dominated? Either way, Russia's own actions in intruding into the U.S. political space and the subsequent investigations, have precluded any fresh start. Russia perhaps failed to understand the congressional hostility to its activities, mistaking the Trump insiders' lack of concern for the predominant view of the president's supporters on Capitol Hill. The new U.S. sanctions were in retaliation both for Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 and Russian interference in the U.S. election. In December, the Obama administration ordered the seizure of 2 Russian diplomatic compounds and expelled 35 Russian diplomats in response.